I know I'm late on this, but I wanted to give my take on the whole MMA guru, Nina drama, Amy situation that took place last week on Twitter. There's been a bunch of videos about it. I just keep getting asked about it, so I figured I'd put a video out here and give my take on the entire situation. I'm going to go through a bunch of different things in this video and give my take on it. My name is James Lynch. So last week on Twitter, MMA guru putting this tweet out. It's already got 5.7 million impressions, just to show you how much attention this got last week. And, you know, we do cover stuff like this on the YouTube MMA scene. It is something that was talked about a lot. It was in the news, whether you like it or not. And I think it's interesting because it kind of blends the MMA media and the YouTube content creators and the fans all together. So we're going to read the tweet here. Guru saying, honestly, so disrespectful of the UFC cameraman at the UFC 307 press conference to be like, nah, you guys got to see this in the middle of her question. Pathetic behavior and not funny. We know what he's doing here. He's making fun of Amy, making fun of her appearance and all that. And listen, Guru has some good jokes. He has some things that make people laugh. I just watched something even before I hopped on here about him criticizing, Dana White for, Dana White was talking to John Morgan and saying that, oh, I've always defended Demetrius Johnson all the time when he was in the UFC, and Guru's kind of doing his reaction to it. And because Dana's basically lying about it, right? Like, that stuff's good. This is just a weird thing that he did here. I got to be honest, because it's not like Amy is a huge name in the MMA industry. This isn't Ariel or Luke Thomas or one of the like really big names in the space. Amy's just she's a regular reporter. She goes to all the events. She asks a lot of questions. But this was kind of random, like him going and doing this. And the thing is, like, I think this is a joke that missed. I think this came across as mean as opposed to coming across as being funny. And it was just kind of unnecessary. Like, that was kind of my take when I saw this. It's like, you're going after Amy. Like, people can say what they want. I know a lot of people don't like the media, but I just don't think it was really necessary. And the comments sort of reflected that. If you read how people responded to this, Dan Tom from MMA Junkie, you've got a bunch of people on here just really upset about this, right? Full Send even coming to the defense of Amy, Mohammed Mokayev. But this is Guru's brand. He wants to be the villain. Like, I understand why he did this, because this is part of his thing. He knows that if he says something controversial, people are going to respond, and then he can make a video out of it. And that's exactly what happened in this situation. So something that was a bit surprising in this situation is Nina Drama coming to the defense, Nina Marine Danielle on Twitter. And the reason I say this is surprising is because this is the first time I've seen anyways, where Nina Drama has actually, come to the defense of the MMA media. She says, I've been keeping my mouth shut for this clout chasing vermin since I started. Obviously, it's pretty long here. Just goes on and basically just, trashes MMA Guru here. And what she doesn't realize is while she's doing this, MMA Guru now has a bunch of things that he can use and make a video about. And that's what happened shortly after this. But I give Nina credit here. Like, I think this is good that she's defending the media. She's part of the media in a different way. She's a content creator. She's not a journalist. But I think that this was good to see, because there was a bit of friction, it seemed, between the media and Nina Drama before, and that could be for a variety of reasons. Obviously, Nina works for the UFC. She gets really good access. There's people that have been working in the space for a very long time. They don't get the same type of access that Nina does. You also have Nina's fans all the time reminding the media how much better Nina is because it's different. And again, I always say this to people, what Nina does is totally different than what Ariel Helwani does. It's not the same thing. Nina can goof around and say different stuff. You can't really do that if you're trying to be a journalist or reporter. So it's a little bit different here. So, just to quickly summarize my point here, I don't think I think he missed the mark here. I don't think this really did much other than him become more controversial in his spot. And I think Nina's totally in the right for defending Amy. Now, we'll get to what Guru said in the video and the responses and stuff, because I do have some stuff to say about that. But I think this was good on Nina for defending a fellow media member in a situation like this. I don't think she realized, though, what happens if you go after MMA Guru. We've all seen it. I've experienced this myself. His fans are ruthless. They will go for the jugular, and he will go for the jugular, and that's certainly what he did after this. But one other thing I wanted to mention before we move on here is I've heard some people say, Amy deserved it. Amy's bad reporter, all this different stuff. She asked some stupid questions. So I actually went and watched the questions she asked at the press conference here. It's at about the 25-minute mark. We're not going to watch the whole thing because it's going to take too long. But the questions that she asked, this was about 25 minutes into the presser. So one of the things you have to realize when you go to UFC presser is the UFC asks certain reporters and being like, okay, are you going to ask a question? Yes or no? It usually goes into pecking order. It's usually like Oscar from Mac Life, Jose Young's from MMA Fighting. If John Morgan's there, he'll get a question. And then, Amy is a little bit after that, or whoever else is there. Because I've done it too. Like, I've been at press conferences and it's kind of a pecking order. So the reason I bring that up is because usually the good questions get asked first. So you're sort of left, you want to contribute, you want to give a good question, but some of the good questions might have already been taken. So in Amy's case, she decided to focus on the Ketlen Vieira and Kayla Harrison fight. So she asked Ketlen Vieira if she's being overlooked ahead of the fight, which is a totally fine question. Like, again, you're hearing all the talk with, Pereira, Cleo, obviously Pena and Pennington. Does Ketlen Vieira, does she care? Like maybe Ketlen's gonna say, yeah, I do feel like I'm overlooked and I'm using that as motivation. Like the whole idea of asking questions at the press conference is a way to get a response out of the fighter and get a good quote. So I think her question was totally fair and totally fine. And, the way people act online towards the media, like, again, you can call out the media for stuff, if they're being bad, like if a reporter's bringing up like something a fighter said on social media and using that as a way to make the fighter look bad, I can understand people being upset by that. But saying, are you being overlooked? That's some sort of like question that deserves a lot of ridicule. Like, give me a break. Like, do you guys not watch anything else? Like, you see this in politics all the time, reporters lying or putting out propaganda to people and trying to deceive the public. That's not what's happening here at all. She's asking about fighters fighting each other. Like, I just don't see why people get so bent out of shape with the media and the questions they ask. And it's funny because I had a few comments this week being like, well, she asked awful questions, she deserves this. Okay, what question should she have asked? And they go completely silent because honestly, it's not about the questions they ask. It's the fact they don't like the media for a variety of reasons, whether it's, they think they can do the job better or they just think the media sucks because of some of the things that other media has done. So yeah, I think that's not really necessary. So she asked Ketlen Vieira about that. That's fine. Then she asked Kayla to respond. They talked a bit of trash. So it kind of worked. What Amy did actually worked for, the Clip Farm factory, which is, you want quotes, you want things that sort of drive up the fight. And then Ketlen, then she asked Juliana Pena, did you hear that Ketlen Vieira called her a dog, not in the sense of like a, tough fighter, but, maybe like an insult. And Juliana had no response. But again, if Juliana had gotten insulted by that, she might have had a good quote. It goes there. So the reason I bring that up is because like I could understand if people were upset with Amy for some of the questions she asked, if they were like something that was like a gotcha moment for the fighter, but that's not what she did. And they weren't even bad questions. So yeah, again, I think like people are, I don't know. Like, again, I did a whole video on certain types of fans. It's on this channel if you want to watch it. But this lines up with the MMA expert fan, the people that think they can always do a better job. Like I always say this, if you think you can do a better job in the media, then go do it. Because there's no handouts in this industry. A lot of people could go do what Amy or myself or anyone else does. So again, Amy was totally fine with the question. So like I said, Nina has the response. Then that leads to, what is it? Guru doing the... Oh yeah, so then Guru responds, then Nina makes another video, then Guru then says, so he says, I'm a vile extremist staying on society. Some of the stuff that Nina said in here wasn't right. We're not going to go through everything. Like the begging for donations, he doesn't do that. Anyways, like I just think like I get what Nina's doing. I understand from Nina's perspective too, because it's like she probably knows she has a lot of fans, but her fans aren't like Guru fans. Like they're probably not going to go after Guru and get upset about some of the things that were said here. Guru's fans will. So it's like a losing battle. Now, again, there's a lot of people out there who think that if you get insulted online, you should just brush it off and move along. But I think people have a right to defend themselves if they're being talked about in a bad way. So I don't blame Nina for doing this. I think Nina's fine for doing that. I just don't think she realized the avalanche that's coming her way from the Guru fans and everything else. So again, Guru does this. And then there's the video that Guru did as well. So that, we're again, 40-minute video. This is what I mean. Like he got everything he wanted in this video, or got all the evidence he wanted. And now he can make a 40-minute video. And this is one of the highest rated videos he's had. I mean, he gets a lot of really good views here. But if you look at his last couple videos, I mean, this one did almost, 500,000 views. That's bigger than anything else. So what Guru did worked. And again, media are allowed to be criticized. If the media asks bad questions, if they say something you don't like, or they made a mistake, there's nothing wrong. It's fair game as far as I'm concerned to criticize the media. I criticize the media too. I criticize content creators if they say something wrong. That's what this video is about. I'm criticizing that. But I don't think Amy did anything that deserved that. And like I said, this looked more like being mean than it looked like making a good joke. That's how I take that. Guru's entitled to his opinion. I'm not saying he can't, but I also think that this wasn't funny and it just didn't hit. And like I said, you can go read the comments here. A lot of people are upset by this. It didn't hit. It didn't hit. But maybe this was Guru's plan all along, because then he can, like I said, get more content here. So again, I'm not going to go through the whole video, but he brings up a couple things. He brings up the Sean Strickland interviews. So let's go to those. And look, We know Sean Strickland, highly controversial.
My focus is on cosmetic.
I know people are giving me crap for not having YouTube Premium. I'll get it eventually. I don't know. I haven't thought to get it. So, anyways, so he goes through all the things that Sean Strickland say. Now, here's the difference. First off, Guru's right. Like Nina, there are some things that Nina's done that she's let slide compared to some of the stuff that Guru does. Like they're on par. The difference though is, and this is what I think a lot of his fans are missing, is that Sean didn't specifically go after one person for no reason. Like if Sean Strickland, for example, if Sean had gone after Amy or Sean had gone after someone out of the blue and just decided to be mean to them, I think that's totally fair. And if Nina had saw that and brushed it off, then that would be different. All Sean's doing, he's talking about fat shaming. Actually, I think someone actually had the tweet here of some of the stuff that Sean said. Here's why I don't trust fat people. Fat people are hard to look at. Like similar type of talk to what Guru would say. The difference though is, yes, it's mean. It's kind of mean to say. Strickland's not going after someone specifically and doing it as a mean thing. I think he's trying to partially be funny, partially like, you know, make a point. Like he is being, yeah, Strickland is being mean, but he's not being mean to one specific person. So there is a bit of a difference there. Like it's not like Strickland said this about a certain media member out of the blue. There would be more of a case there. Again, Guru's within his right to say this. I think it's a fair point. I think that's one of the things that Nina probably didn't think about when she was, you know, responding back to Guru, but it's not exactly the same thing. Then the other point that she made was about the John Jones tweet, which, yeah, looking back now, not a great tweet. Where is it? He has it in here somewhere. Let me find it. It's somewhere in here, unless it was at the beginning. Sorry, guys. Just take 1 second here. Should have had this teed up, but we're doing this on the fly here right now. There we go. That's the tweet. Sorry, I should have moved that a little bit sooner. I freaking love John Jones, and before y'all make the weird, leave a bunch of how did she get the John Jones interview. I'll tell you, before I started covering MMA, I was a comedy content creator, which is actually true. John and I used to follow each other but never spoke. Saw John backstage. Asked the UFC social team if I could do a quick piece. Yeah, again, like the problem here is if this is any other fighter, it's no big deal. But John Jones obviously checkered past stuff outside the cage. We know all the, you know, the things that are going on. So yeah, Guru again, totally within his right here, and just again adds more to his case and adds more, you know, fuel to the fire here. And Guru's right here. Like this is not a good look. It's not a good tweet looking back. But again, I don't think Nina's intention was like to put this out and forget about all the other things. I think she kind of just didn't realize. Like I'm sure she knows about the stuff going on with John Jones behind the scenes. But I think when she put this tweet out, she was thinking more of people being jealous that she got a John Jones interview. I think so. I don't even think that was even in her head or whatever. So yeah, again, point to Guru on that one as well. And then Guru goes on about how a lot of her fans are kids and she sexualizes herself and there's photos with kids and stuff. I'm not going to touch that. That's a whole other issue there. I mean, you could say that about a lot of people, like in terms of younger viewers being fans of the UFC. They could be fans of other female content creators or, you know, reporters or whatever. I'm sure I'm sure if a little kid wanted a photo with one of the UFC reporters, like, you know, Megan Olivia, Laura Sanko, they'd take the photo, and Guru would probably say the same thing. So I think that point's not as strong, but obviously the points with Strickland and John Jones, I think are, you know, very much on game and on point as well. So, and then last thing that Guru brings up is the John Morgan thing. Where does he say it here? Let's just find it. Again, should have had this ready, but I didn't. Yeah, and then he talks about Amy going after John Jones. I mean, Amy did go after him. So, but yeah, I guess it's kind of interesting because Nina says she loves John Jones, and then Amy goes after John Jones. Okay, yeah, kind of coincidence. When you're MMA media that's been called fat by an entire fan base, some of the actual UFC roster for years, nobody cared because you're a man. Poor John Morgan, I expect. Yeah, but the thing is, like, John's smart. He didn't respond. I'm sure John is upset by that people call him that and people like run forward with that. Like Guru can't just pretend that like John's not upset by that. John was just smart not to respond. He actually, you know, he dodged, like I said, he dodged an avalanche here because if John had responded to this, then the Guru fans are going to go after him. Guru himself is going to go after him. Again, it's this whole cycle of where you respond to something Guru does. Guru uses that content, makes a video, makes a ton of money off it. It's a cycle that keeps repeating. So you can never win. Is kind of the whole point. And listen, it's different with men and women. I mean, women get judged on their looks all the time. This isn't me being woke or anything, but like, you know, I don't have to work. Like, yes, sometimes people talk about my appearance, but not nearly as if I was a woman. That's the truth. That's the way society's built. So it's not really the same thing. And honestly, I don't think John is really paying attention to like the MMA gurus and the content creators of the world. He's got other stuff he's doing. So that's kind of my thought. So anyways, kind of to summarize this up a little bit, I think Nina is in the right here for defending Amy, because again, I think this looked as something as being mean as opposed to, you know, like going after Guru for no reason type thing. I think the point that Guru was trying to make, I think it missed. I don't think it was a good joke. But Guru's allowed to criticize who he wants. But this is this whole thing. This is what people got to realize. Guru's not trying to get a journalism job here. He's trying to be a personality and a creator, and he's achieved that. And like I said, the video that he did on Nina Drama, tons of views. He probably got more fans off of this as well. So Guru's within his right to criticize people. I just think I don't know what he really gained other than getting a lot more negative publicity. Maybe that was the goal all along. Like I said, Nina's in the right for defending Amy. I don't think Nina realized that she's let a lot of other stuff slide before. And listen, the thing that bothers me though about this is that, and we see this a lot of time with newer fans, is they will say, well, what about this? What about this? What about this? Like, why can't we acknowledge that it's all bad? What Guru did was bad. What Nina did, you know, laughing at Sean Strickland, making fun of groups of people is also bad. Like, they're all bad. Like, there's no, like, you can't just say like, well, because you did this, that this doesn't matter. They all matter. You know what I mean? So that's really what it boils down to. And like I said, I think what a lot of Guru fans here miss is that this was just mean. It wasn't funny. The initial response. I think everything else after that, I think Guru's within his rights, except for maybe the kid thing. I think that's a little far-fetched, but the bringing up the John Jones tweet, the Sean Strickland stuff, laughing. I mean, here's the thing. If Nina had, stopped Sean in the middle of the interview and said, hey, you can't talk about people like that, then fans are going to turn on her. They're going to say she's too uptight. Like, you can't win either way. Either Nina kind of laughs along with Strickland stuff and you let Strickland be Strickland, and that's what fans want, or you interrupt him and you be this moral high ground, and then people are going to be upset by you. So it's like Nina couldn't win either way. So I don't think Nina's in the wrong here, other than like what, you're not supposed to have an opinion because you made a couple mistakes before. Like, I don't believe in that either. I think people are allowed to give their response there. So yeah, like I said, I don't think anyone's right here in the end. I think they're all, I think that, there's some parts here where Guru's right. There's some parts where Nina's right. But overall, I don't think there's like a lot of the people are saying, oh, Nina got destroyed. I don't think so. I think Nina was good for standing up for the media as a whole. Like, I think that's what it represented, was defending the media against the YouTube content creators. That's kind of how I look at this whole thing. And then, like I said, I think Guru's allowed to say whatever he wants, but people are allowed to criticize him if it was something that didn't hit. So follow me on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, @Lynch on Sports. My name is James Lynch. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time.